Hey everyone, this is Matt, and in today's video, I'm bringing you the Limit 1 Festival of Master Duel, Eldlich deck profile. So, it's been a while since I put out a video. I've been just busy with other things. Yeah, I guess like with less Dark Magician content available for me to want to make, like I just feel like there's just fewer videos in general that I want to make. But fret not, I do have more videos in the pipeline. But yeah, a Master Duel recently began the Limit 1 Festival. The Limit 1 Festival is a cool game mode where every card that's not banned is limited to one per deck. So this makes like deck building and Yu-Gi-Oh very interesting. In fact, this is probably the most fun I've had playing Yu-Gi-Oh in a while. Like, I like this than any other festivals we've had so far. I like this more than TCG. I wish the TCG had something like this. But yeah, it's really fun. And the reason of being, like, there are actually, like, games can actually go more than a few turns. Like, it actually feels like it can, you can actually grind things out. And combos and decks that were obnoxious before are way less consistent, right? It's like they're still obnoxious, but like the odds of your opponent seeing the cards they need to produce the obnoxiousness has significantly decreased. So anyway, yeah, you can definitely play Eldlich in this festival game mode, and I highly suggest that you do, because the thing about control decks is that you don't really care to see any one particular card. Like, any hand of 5 cards is pretty good, right? Like, combo decks need to see their starters, and if they don't, then like they just get wrecked, right? There's not, they can't do anything. But with control decks, it's like any 5 card hand is good. So you're not going to, feel bad about like what cards you open. And also, I do feel like control decks are just better in this game mode. So, alright, let's get into the deck. So, let's start out with, okay, I'm going to jump all over the place because, this game orders things different. So, I'm going to start out with 1 copy of Eldlich the Golden Lord. Since we can't run 2, obviously we're running 1 because everything's at 1. Yeah, you definitely need the 1 copy of the Golden Boy. Good news is, you're less likely to get hit by Called by the Grave or DD Crow, and also you're less likely to get ashed when trying to summon this guy. So yeah, I feel like most of the time 1 copy is enough, and like I haven't had issues. I have had it banished a few times. By the way, like, speaking of a few times, so I already I played this deck all the way through like not the end of the festival, but like I'm now at a point where like getting more gems just gets me like those little cards. It doesn't get me more, like, winning games doesn't get me like regular gems anymore. It just gets me those little like cards for the legacy packs. And yeah, so I've played a lot, basically. Like, I've gotten to that point. But yeah, like, even in games where I've gotten my Eldlich banished, I'm usually okay because of the other cards in my deck, which I'll get into. So yeah, 1 copy of Eldlich the Golden Lord. For spells, we are running the 1 copy of Cursed Eldland and the 1 copy of Elixir of White Destiny. So why am I not running Elixir of Black Awakening? So the reason is because Elixir of Black Awakening, from my experience and like from playing, it feels like it doesn't come up that often. I don't know, like most of the time, like you want to see that card at the beginning of like your opening hand, just so you can summon Eldlich from deck. But then what? Like, if you don't have other Eldlich cards, like, I don't know. I feel like I did have Black Awakening in this deck before, but I just feel like White Destiny is way better. And the reason that White Destiny is way better is because it's a quick play spell, which means you can use it on your opponent's turn to summon Eldlich. Eldlich can be summoned in attack or defense position, whereas Black Awakening only summons in defense position. And one cool interaction you can do is like, and I've done this a few times, like, let's say you have Eldlich in hand and Elixir of White Destiny, right? Well, obviously, White Destiny allows you to summon the Eldlich from your hand, but also you send Eldlich to the graveyard to try to send one of your opponent's cards to the graveyard, and then they chain Called by the Grave on you to try to banish your Eldlich. You chain White Destiny, and then you dodge Called by the Grave. So you get to send a card from the graveyard, you waste your Called by the Grave, and now Elixir White Destiny, like, basically, like, is useful, right? So yeah, and since this is an Elixir, you can use this to search the Golden Land traps, which I'll get into. But yeah, Cursed Outland and Elixir of White Destiny are the only spell Eldritch cards. I don't think Black Awakening is worth it. let's get into this Eldlich Trap. So we have one copy of Elixir of Scarlet Sanguine, just like in my regular Master Duel Eldlich deck. You want to max out on these, right? So one, summons Eldlich from your deck, searches your gold land traps. It's very good. One copy Conquistador. We play one in regular Master Duel because it's limited to one, and we're gonna play one here. Pops a card. One Huaquero, okay, and then the two that you have not seen before. One Guardian of the Golden Land. So this is a trap monster that does not produce a level 5, but does produce a level 8, which can be linked away, and it has 2500 defense. And if you do have Eldlich on your field, when you summon this guy, it makes one of your opponent's monsters attack 0, so you can just run over it with whatever you want. Yeah, it's not great, but like it's mostly just engine. This is just engine so that you could see your Eldlich more often, right? If we had more copies of like Huaquero or others, I would cut this, but I feel like it's good to have like a few of the searchable Golden Land. And then I have Golden Land Forever. So Golden Land Forever I have for 2 reasons. One, it can be searched off Curse Eldland, and 2, the counter trap aspect of it means that it's technically Backrow protection if you have Eldlich on your field. So if Eldlich is on your field, they throw down a Lightning Storm or Heart Piece to clear your Backrow. Golden Land Forever will protect your Backrow. So yeah, I feel like one thing that I've noticed is like almost everyone and their mother is running like Lightning Storm, Feather Duster, like Twin Twisters, it feels like. So just being able to have something in your arsenal to protect your back row is very important, because we don't have access to 3 Solemn Judgment, we don't have access to 3 Lord of Heavenly Players, so I'm trying to get as much back row protection as I can, and that's basically what this Golden Land Forever is. I mean, technically you could use it for monster effects, but let's be real, most of the time, from my experience, I just use it to protect back row. So yeah, so those are your Eldlich Engine pieces. You have enough that you're gonna see Eldlich every game basically, which is what I did. All right. So those are the Eldlich Engine pieces. Let's talk about the Dogmatika package. So I am running Dogmatika package. I'm running 1 copy of Dogmatika Ecclesia, 1 copy of Dogmatika Fleur-de-Lis, 1 copy of Nadir Servant, and of course 1 copy of Dogmatika Punishment. I am not running Maximus, which I'll get into in a bit. And then in my extra deck I have 1 copy of Ventis, 1 copy of Titanic Lad. So the Dogmatika Punishment package is extremely good. Not only does it just net you lots of card advantage, like the fact that it locks you out of your extra deck is irrelevant, because you barely use your extra deck, but also like it's just great to it helps you win the game in the sense of like Ecclesia cannot be destroyed by extra deck monsters, right? So like I've had a game where I just sat on Ecclesia in defense mode and like they couldn't out it because they only had extra deck monsters. And Fleur-de-Lis is like a big beater, right? So Fleur-de-Lis, like as soon as it attacks, becomes 3k. So if your Eldlich gets banished, like you can just rely on, you can literally just do Fleur-de-Lis beatdown. That's what I did in a couple games where if I didn't have Eldlich, I just like attacked over and over with Dogmatika Fleur-de-Lis. One cool part of Fleur-de-Lis is like if they summon Zeus, you summon Fleur-de-Lis, attacks Zeus, which is in defense mode, which will force it to Fleur-de-Lis to be 3000 attack, right? And then if they don't Zeus you, then the next turn Fleur-de-Lis becomes 3500, and then they have to Zeus you. So yeah, it's a pretty, I've noticed that a few times that it forces the Zeus, right? Especially if you also have Ecclesia, then it negates Zeus completely, and then you can like deal with Zeus somehow. So yeah, Fleur-de-Lis is very good. Although you can theoretically cut this and just sit on Ecclesia. Like for the package, you really only need Ecclesia, Nadir Servant, and Punishment. You don't really need Fleur-de-Lis, but I really like having that extra little boss monster. Since I can't have a second Eldlich, I like the second, or having this Fleur-de-Lis is very nice. Yeah, Dogmatika Engine is really good. I want to say no matter what deck you play, I feel like you should be running Dogmatika because it's an engine where everything is normally a 1-of anyway. Like, okay, maybe you can say, oh, outside this festival, like some people run 3 Nadir Servants or like multiple punishments, but no, honestly, 1 Nadir Servant is good enough. I've played Dogmatika with 1 Nadir Servant before. The OCG plays it with 1, it's fine. Like, and punishment at 1 obviously is all you really need. So why do I not run Maximus? The reason I don't run Maximus is because Maximus's summoning condition is not easy to meet in this deck. But also, once it's on the field, it's like, okay, what am I actually gonna send to to the graveyard? Like, because I only have 1 Intis and 1 Titanic Lad, like, which I'm probably already gonna send to graveyard using either Nadir or Punishment. I just feel like I don't have enough like good extra deck monsters to send to the graveyard to justify Maximus. So yeah, I don't think Maximus is worth playing. Okay, so those are the two main engines. We have the Eldlich Engine and we have the Dogmatika Engine. Let's get into other monsters. So we have one copy of Lava Golem, one copy of Sphere Mode. Despite the fact that in this festival, like, it's a lot less of a summon fest, like, you know, boards aren't as big as they are outside of this festival, I still have used Lava Golem and Sphere Mode a surprising number of times. Like, just clearing away like annoying boss monsters of your opponent is extra powerful in this festival because they only have one copy. Like, let's say they have, you know, Barone Chisho. I Lava Golem that away, and they don't have any more Barones, they don't have any more Chishaos, or like if they have a invoked Mechaba and something else, like I Lava Golem away, no more invoked Mechaba. Like, it doesn't even matter that the Alistair engine can recycle itself. Like, the, you know, like, it's just so good, right? Obviously, like, these cards are way better going second than going first, but games are longer in this festival, so this card is fine going first because you're unlikely like to get a brick on like your hand on it. Like, you're not going to see like multiple copies of these, but then, like, you know, the games are going to last longer, so you can probably just use this on turn 3 or whatever after your opponent tries to set up a board. So yeah, Lava Golem and Sphere Mode have come in giga clutch. In fact, I recall winning 3 games with Lava Golem, sitting on their field, burning them for 1,000 on the standby phase. Like, you can stall it out, you can lock them out of doing other things, because, you know, there's just fewer engine pieces, like, the decks are way less consistent, that you can legit just, like, burn them to death with Lava Golem. It's really funny. I was surprised how many times I actually pulled that off. Alright. Yeah, and then, of course, one copy of Lord of Heavenly Prison. This is, you know, an alternative boss monster. It's a level 10, so you can make a rank 10. Sphere Mode is also level 10, so all 3 of these monsters are level 10s, so you can make rank 10s with these 3. Heavenly Prison obviously protects from Lightning Storm, protects from Feather Duster, and it searches you a spell trap when you summon it. And we have like a nice like toolbox of spells and traps that I'm going to get into, which you'll see in a bit. But yeah, Lord of Heavenly Prison absolutely mandatory. Those are all the monsters. Let's get to the spells. So we have the one copy of Called by the Grave. The reason I decided to run one copy of Called by the Grave is because I feel like Called by the Grave in this mode is way more impactful. Because everything is a one of. Like, if they have like a critical engine piece and you Call by the Grave against it, like, they're done. Like, their entire deck might just insta scoop, right? It's really funny. Yeah, like, it's not, you know, this deck doesn't really care about like maxi or like most hand traps. So, you know, maybe like on an Ash, like, you can chain Call by the Grave, but like Call by the Grave is just amazing. Like, you Call by the Grave like an important monster of theirs, and then they're just completely done, right? So yeah, definitely running that. And then for the consistency cards, one copy of Pot of Duality, one copy of Pot of Extravagance. So you saw both of these bad boys in my regular Eldritch decks. One copy of Pot of Prosperity because we cannot run a second Extravagance. Honestly, most of the time I banish 3 for Prosperity because, like, I very rarely need to dig for 6 because most of my hand is going to be good already. But like, if you're in a tight spot or your hand is kind of bricky, or like you draw this like as a top deck and you have like no other cards in your hand, then yeah, go for the banish 6. Most of the time banish 3 is fine. And then one copy of Card of Demise. So Card of Demise is a cool card where you basically draw 3 cards, up to 3 cards in your hand. You can't special summon or deal damage, but like, if you draw a bunch of 3 traps, you just set it immediately, right? So this card is really good. True Draco players already run this. Honestly, like, you can run it in like a regular Eldritch deck outside the festival, but I feel like this card can be hard to pull off. Like, if you set 4, if you already have 4 set, you don't really want to draw 3 because you won't be able to set all of those 3. Like, you want to play Card of Demise after like most of your back row is cleared. If you have like 2 or fewer back row, then you play Card of Demise because ideally you want to draw 3 back row that you can all immediately set, right? So yeah, so that's my spell lineup. Pretty straightforward. So let's get into the traps. So the traps that you've seen before: one copy of Central Tribute. This card is amazing. One copy of Needle Sealing. I've talked about this in my main Eldritch videos. These just board clears, board clears, board clears. Like even though in this festival, like players don't summon as much, Needle Ceiling has still come up. It's amazing, right? Other cards that you've seen before. One copy of Dimensional Barrier. So I do want to say that the best decks that I've seen in this format, like combo that I've actually lost to, have been fusion decks. So either invoked / Despia type decks, or synchro decks like anything with worms, sword soul, etc. Obviously, it requires them to draw really well, but like, yeah, I feel like D Barrier would just instantly win those matchups because like, yeah, it just like prevents a summoning like against Invoke. Let's say they play Invocation, Alistair. You chain this, Alistair and Invocation now in their graveyard. Like they can't recycle because Alistair's not banished, so it just kills their entire Alistair. It's just really good, right? One copy of Punishment I already talked about. One copy of Ice Dragon's Prison. I've already talked about this one in my other video, but yeah, this is just like spot removal for really annoying cards like Chenging, Chaos Max, etc. So yeah, very good to have. One thing that I've used Punishment a lot for, Ice Dragons, well, and obviously it's good in the Eldlich matchup, right? You banish your Eldlich and like maybe one of the Golden Land cards, zombies. But one thing that Ice Dragon is really good for is just you can just summon your opponent's big beat stick and just sit on it and then just use it to swing for game. Like I remember summoning like an opponent's Fleur de Lis. I remember summoning like an opponent's Nibiru. Like if they have any just of those big monsters in the graveyard, you just steal it and just attack with it. All right. So these are all traps that you've seen before, or normal traps. Other normal traps. I'll get into continuous traps later. So I'm adding here one copy of Starlight Road. So Starlight Road is anti-Backrow removal. So this has saved me so many times because you set a bunch of cards, they play Harpies or Lightning Storm, and even though they have one copy, somehow they appear every game. You chain Starlight Road, and then they just cry because it negates their Harpies or their Lightning Storm, or Twin Twisters. Actually, against Twin Twisters is even hilarious, right? Because Twin Twisters destroys 2 cards. Starlight Road negates so they have to discard a card for Twin Twisters. So they spend 2 cards to try to pop 2 of your back row. You chain Starlight Road, negates Twin Twisters, so they're down 2 cards, and then you get to summon Stardust Dragon. So you basically net 2 over them with Starlight Road. It's hilarious, and I've seen so many people do this against me, and then like they just insta scoop as soon as the Stardust Dragon comes out. Because Stardust Dragon is a 2500 beater, but also it has an effect that allows it to tribute itself to protect from destruction again. So like, let's say they play Harpies, you chain or play they play Lightning Storm, you negate with Starlight Road, you bring out Stardust Dragon, and then they try to Harpies you. Stardust Dragon can negate Harpies, like it negates like Mass Clear as well. So yeah, this card is absolutely mandatory. Yeah, we have a lot of back row protection in this game because, like I said, everyone is running Lightning Storm Feather Duster. I swear I see it more often than in like outside the festival. We have one copy of Storming Mirror Force. What's this about? This is just great battle phase clear. They attack you with a bunch of monsters. You flip this, and it bounces all their monsters to their hand. If they're extra deck monsters, they get bounced to the extra deck, which is amazing, right? I've used this against Sorcerer. I've used this against Despia. It's just hilarious because like they usually have to spend a bunch of resources to get those monsters, especially Sorcerer. Like they have one Moye, one Long and one everything. They attack you. You bounce all their extra deck monsters back, and then all their starter monsters are in the graveyard. It's really funny. But like, if you don't like Mirror Force type cards, feel free to cut this. I've had some fun with this. One copy of Heavy Storm Duster. This is just back row removal. You're in an Eldritch Mirror. You pop 2 of their back row. You're against. Honestly, this is good against like Shadal too. You take out their punishment. You can take out their Shadal Schism, right? Against Sword Soul, you take out their Blackout. I've used this basically every time I've had this card has been live. Like they usually have back row. I feel like you kind of have to have some back row in this game mode to not lose completely. So those are all my normal traps. Counter traps. We have one copy of Solemn Judgment. This protects back row. It also prevents summons, right? So they summon access code. You can flip Solemn Judgment. Solemn Warning. is of the solemn counter traps. It's the least useful, but I feel like in this mode is really good because I use this mainly to stop summons. They summon like Barone, I negate the summon of Barone, or like whatever. This negates summons, right? And this can be played as to negate the fusion summons, right? So let's say they play Invocation. You chain this, they don't get the fusion summon. Yeah, you can negate most things. Yeah, obviously not as good as Judgment or Strike. We have one copy of The Huge Revolution is Over. So what the F is this card? So this card says when a spell, trap card, or monster effect is activated that would destroy 2 or more cards in the field, negate the activation. If you do, banish it. So yeah, this card is really good because it's more back row protection. They play Harpy's Feather Duster to clear your back row. You chain this, it banishes Harpy's Feather Duster. Same with Lightning Storm. Like it's just more back row protection. Solemn Strike, the best of the solemn cards. I usually use it to negate summons, but feel free to negate annoying monster effects. And then Broken Line is really good if you haven't seen this card before. It says when a spell, trap card, or monster effect is activated in this card's column, while this card is set, negate the activation, do destroy it. So this is really good going second because they set up their board. Let's say they have a Mechaba or a Barone. You set this card in the column of where Mechaba or Barone are, right? So then on their turn, when they try to use their effects, you chain Broken Line and you take out their boss monsters, right? Or you just put this in the middle column or the column of one of their extra deck monsters, and when they play a card in that column, you just take it out. Like if you set 5 and this card's the middle card, and they try to like Harpy's Feather Dust you, a lot of players instinctually play their card in the middle column. So yeah, this card will just completely wreck those instances. This has definitely come up a lot. And then of course I already talked about Golden Land Forever. So in terms of back row protection, we have Lord Henley Prison protects back row, Judgment protects back row, Huge Revolution is Over protects back row, Starlight Road protects back row, Broken Line can protect back row, Golden Land Forever can protect back row, and of course Anti-Spell Fragrance. Let's get into the continuous traps. So Anti-Spell Fragrance, I'm not a fan of this card, but I am again in this festival because it's just more back row protection, and also means that like you'll win the grind game like significantly. Like you're against an Invoke player, they can't even play Invocation every turn. Like that's it makes it really hard for them. Like the most annoying decks that recycle their resources really well are Invoked, Prank Kids. Prank Kids recycle their stuff really well. But if you have Anti-Spell Fragrance, it doesn't matter that they're recycling all their spells. They're not going to be able to play it on the same turn. They're going to be significantly crippled. But also, you shotgun this on your opponent's like draw phase, standby phase, and then they can't Lightning Storm or they can't Harpies, or at least not that turn, right? They have to set it. And if they set Lightning Storm and set up a board, then Lightning Storm is dead. And so basically, it's Harpies at your most. It also means that they're not going to chain Called by the Grave from their hand because they can't, right? Rivalry of Warlords. Yeah, you can just sit on zombies. You have Eldlich, you can just win via zombies, or you can win via spellcasters with your Dogmatika package. But yeah, Rivalry is really good. Stops most opponents' decks, stops Prank Kids, stops Invoked, stops Despia, stops Prank Kids, stops most things. And this card also prevents Sword Soul from going into Barone. The worm monsters are a little easier to deal with than Barone. One copy of Shadow Imprisoning Mirror. Whoa, Shadow Imprisoning Mirror? What's this? Negate all dark monster effects on the field or in the graveyard. So, like I said, the decks that I've lost to the most, and granted, I haven't lost much in this game mode, but I've noticed that the decks that I did lose are typically decks with a lot of dark monsters. So, for example, Invoked Shadal. Alistair is a dark. The Shadals are darks. Despia, like all their cards are darks, right? They have a few lights, but you know their better cards are darks. This is really good against if you're against Tri-Brigade. Ominous Omen literally can't banish anything. Shadow Imprisoning also destroys. What's the name of that deck? Also stops like Draglublion OTKs. I've played against a DDD deck. DDDs are all darks, and DDDs are pretty decent in this game mode because they have a lot of card recyclability, right? Yeah, Shadow Imprisoning Mirror is just a great card. Great Floodgate. Especially since like you don't have any dark monsters activating on the field or in the graveyard. Lord of Headley Prison is dark, but it's in your hand, so it's okay. Summon Limit. I said this card was not so good going first. Sorry, not so good going second, but really good going first. In this game mode, because games are longer, Summon Limit is much better. You're definitely going to see more. Even when you're going second, you're going to see more games where Summon Limit is live and like useful. Goes in match. We run in the main Eldlich deck. We run it here. You can lock yourself into lights. Lock your opponent out of stuff. They can't do anything. Yeah. Great Floodgate. Lose one turn. Oh boy, what is this lose one turn? So lose one turn is a hilarious card. So let's read it together. Activate only if you control no special summon monsters. So basically your field has to be empty. While a monster is face up on the field, negate its effect during the turn it will special summon. If effect monster is special summon in attack position, change it to defense position. So this card is hilarious. So we don't have access to Skill Drain. They banned Skill Drain from this festival for whatever reason. It's like, but why? Like, there's one copy of Skill Drain. Why would you ban Skill Drain? Whatever. But so instead of using Skill Drain, we're using lose one turn. So every time your opponent special summons a monster, or you, that monster goes to defense position. You know, if it's not like a Link monster, and it cannot activate its effects this turn. So they go into Nightmare Phoenix, it can't use this effect. They go into Nightmare Unicorn, it can't use this effect. They go into Access Code, it can't use this effect. Like most, like they can't use any of their effects. Like it's hilarious. Any monsters with on-summon effects, Aluber, I guess Aluber is normal summon, but like, yeah, this card has saved my ass so many times. Yeah, lose one turn is really funny. You know, the only thing that sucks about it is like if you summon your Eldlich at 3,500 from the graveyard, it can't attack the same turn. But it doesn't matter. Like if this Floodgate is just worth it by itself. One copy of There Can Be Only One. I've mentioned how I don't like this card in Eldlich, but in this format or in this festival, it's really good. And because we don't have two Eldliches, you know, we don't have a lot of double monsters like. You know, we can just sit on Ecclesia. We can just sit on Eldlich. Like we can have Lord and Eldlich on the field together. Like There Can Be Only One hurts other decks way more than it hurts us. Especially like Sword Soul. Like Sword Soul like literally just scoops. And against Invoke, like they can't link Alistair into Artemis. Yeah. It's a really good Floodgate. It's won me a number of games. And since we can't run 3 Gozen or 3 Rivalry, we're running 1. There Can Be Only One. And finally, the last card, because I already talked about the Golden Land traps, is 1 copy of Crackdown. So what is Crackdown? Activated by targeting 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. Take control of that monster. While you control that monster, cannot attack or activate effects. When that monster leaves the field, destroy this card. So this is just like one of those. Oh, you're trying to do a really big combo and like, or summon like boss monster, or maybe go into Zeus, or maybe go into Access Code. I'm just gonna go ahead and steal your monster. This card combos very, very well with lose one turn, because the turn they summon, they can't attack and they can't use its effect. But then you just take it from them with Crackdown, for example, and then they can't use it next turn either. So it's really funny. But also Crackdown just like, it's just like a net card, right? They lose a card, you gain a card, type of thing, and you can always use whatever monster you took from them to just like sit in defense position to defend. Or you can link it away. Oh my god, I'm so tired. Link it away with one of your extra deck monsters. All right, so that's the main deck. This deck has been very good. I've definitely won way more than I've lost with it. If you want to cut anything, maybe cut Storm Mirror Force, maybe cut Crackdown, maybe cut Fleur-de-Lis, maybe cut Lose. I don't know. There's a few places you can cut, but I feel most of the stuff here you should not cut. Extra deck: 1 copy of Eldlich and Tis, 1 copy of Titaniclad. And Tis, gives you a pop 2 off of punishment, or if you have Nadir, it gives you a pop 1. 1 copy of Titaniclad. If you have Nadir Servant, use Nadir Servant, send Titaniclad. Nadir Servant will search Ecclesia. Ecclesia will summon, search punishment. In an end phase, Titaniclad will search Fleur-de-Lis. So, yeah, Titaniclad basically makes it so that Nadir Servant nets you like 3 cards. It's absurd, like how good Titaniclad is when a Nadir Servant. Obviously, you know, if you have Pot of Extrav, you might accidentally banish some of these, but you know, that's the cost of business. It is what it is. Wind Pegasus, add Ignister, and Cyframe or Omega. These are also punishment / nadir targets. You send them to the graveyard. They have graveyard effects. Omega allows you to shuffle a card in the graveyard back into the deck. So this can be used against your opponent to basically like get rid of one of their problematic monsters in their graveyard. Like let's say they have an Eldlich, you can shuffle their Eldlich back. Or let's say you have a card in your deck, in your graveyard that you want to be able to use again. You can shuffle it back with Omega. And when Pegasus add an extra, every time when it's in the graveyard, your opponent destroys a card, you can activate this card from the graveyard, banish it, and then bounce one of your opponent's cards back into their deck. This is really good because it's a Limit 1 festival, they're less likely to see the card that they want that you're shuffling back, so it's really good. And finally, for the last synchro, 1 copy of Stardust Dragon. This card is amazing because you use it off Starlight Road. It gets you like just more protection, and it's a 2500 beater. Xyz monsters. Rank 5, Tyrus is the Keeper Genesis. I haven't played this before in my other Eldlich deck, but basically this can be made using Backrow and Conquistador. It's your only 2 level 5s. This says this card cannot be destroyed by card effects. At the end of the battle phase, if this card was attacked, target 1 card your opponent controls, destroy it. During each of your end phases, detach 1 material from this card. So, and yeah, this card's effects can only be applied while it has Xyz material. So, yeah, I haven't seen this card yet. Most of the time, I would banish it off of Prosperity. So, yeah, feel free. This is definitely a card you could cut. Don't cut any other 5 I've shown so far, like these cards. You should definitely cut this if you really want to. Constellar Pallades. I've made this once, I believe, with Backrow and Conquistador. Doesn't come up often because you just have fewer, right? But yeah, it gives you a quick effect bounce. It's really good. 1 copy of Gustav, 1 copy of Lieb. I've made Gustav once using Eldlich and Heavenly Prison. Basically burns your opponent for 2k. And if you have Lieb, you can rank up after you used Gustav Max. So Gustav Max, detach, burn for 2k. Lieb becomes a 6k beater. Swing for game, right? So these haven't come up as often because we're not seeing level 10s as often. Link monsters, 1 copy of Link Spider, 1 copy of Imduck. Just like in my regular Eldlich video, you want to link away your Golden Land traps. So Guardians of the Golden Land, Backrow, and Conk can all be linked away from Link Spider and Imduck. 1 copy of Wind the Wind Charmer. This allows you to revive your enemy's Baronne, the Fleur, as well as Crystal Wing, as well as a number of other wind monsters. You can only make this using Imduck because it's the only wind you have, right? Really good. Lino Light Charmer. Link this using light monsters. Steal your opponent's light monster from graveyard. Their Chisao, their Mechaba, their Nibiru. I actually used this once to steal my opponent's Despian Proskenian, which is a light monster, and it's like they were screwed. I might show you a replay of that later. By the way, after this deck profile, stay tuned. I'm going to show some replays of some games I played. Alright, Draco Master of the Tenny. This is your link 3 to climb into access code. Cannot be destroyed by link monsters, and you can pop cards on the field. And final access code. I did not need access code this game. In this festival so far, there have been games where I could have made access code, but I didn't need to. So, but yeah, you have it just in case you need it. Yeah, this is one of those like going second, or just wipe your opponent's field and swing for game type of cards. So anyway, that's the Eldlich Limit 1 Festival deck. Trust me, you'll easily farm all the gems with this deck. So yeah, I'm gonna show you a few replays from using this deck. It's possible that you might see some cards in those replays that are not in this deck. That's because over the course of the festival, I have made changes here and there based on what I've observed. So yeah, so bear with me. All right, so let's look at some replays. All right. Yeah, I do go first. So this is a game where I do have the Elixir of Black Awakening. So I have to use it like right away to summon my Eldlich, and then I'm gonna set a bunch of cards. All right, I forget, what were they? Ooh, Magical Meltdown. Okay. So why did I allow him to summon Artemis? So I could have used there can be only one in order to stop the Artemis, but I'm actually not afraid of Mechaba at all. So he actually, oh, this is a game where I'm against the Proskanian. Yeah, so he makes Proskanian by fusing, what do you fuse? Ecclesia, Dasher, and Alistair. Okay, that's interesting. Alright, so he's going to go attack my Eldlich. I'm going to summon the Guardian of the Golden Land to make that monster's attack 0, baby. On end phase, he sets a card. Heavy Storm Duster will take out his 2 cards. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and banish. In retrospect, I should have attacked first and then done this, but this did get me Ecclesia, so I think I might end up doing more damage here or something. No, not necessarily. Attack, attack, and then attack, and then I have punishment for follow-up. And then Elixir is going to grab me Conquistador. No, Golden Land Forever. Yeah, I remember. The reason I grab Golden Land Forever here is just in case they draw a Backrow clear. I don't have any protection from Backrow. So if they do play like Harpies or Lightning Storm, I chain Golden Land Forever, tribute this Guardian, and then I'm golden, baby. Get it? Golden. Alright, so let's see what they're going to do. Normal summon a Luber. I'm going to go ahead and just negate that. If he had Backrow clear, he would have opened with it. So I'm just going to prevent him from getting any spells. So end phase, I'm going to go ahead and use this to grab my Elixir of White Destiny. So let's see what we got. So I'm going to link into Lina the Light Charmer. I'm going to use Lina to revive their Despian Proskanian, and then Eldlich is going to revive itself from the graveyard at 3,500 attack, and then we're going to swing for game. So yeah, this is an absolute slaughter. Yeah, easy peasy. Because yeah, I could have used their Tikaboo in order to stop the Artemis from being summoned, but again, like I said, I'm not afraid of Mechaba. So they're gonna go first. Okay, Rhoda into Armageddon Knight. Okay, cool. Brilliant Fusion. Okay, that's interesting. Gem Knights. Haven't seen that in a while. Armageddon Knight. Okay. Basically, they're just, you know, comboing off, doing their thing, bunch of stuff. Note my opening hand, I have Lava Golem, so like whatever board they end on, I'm just gonna Lava Golem their 2 best monsters. Oh, we have a Chaos Ruler, okay. I've also seen a surprising number of Dragon Links players in this festival. Not sure why though. This guy's paying a lot of life points. Why is his life points at half? I don't know. I'm not really paying attention. Oh no, what are you gonna do? Oh no, not IP Masquerena. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna use Heavenly Prison, and I'm gonna use Eldland. I'm not going to Lava Golem yet. I want to bait his IP Masquerena, and which he does get baited into, and he's gonna make, you guessed it, Nightmare Unicorn, and then you know he's gonna use Nightmare Unicorn to bounce Cursed Eldland, which is hilariously bad, right? Okay, and now I'm gonna go ahead and Lava Golem him. So why did I wait? So I wanted to see what IP Masquerade was going to make first, like try to bait that, and then clear it, because it's just taking more of their cards out, right? Because IP's ability gives protection to a Link monster. So if like he could have summoned like, I don't know, Nightmare, Griffin or some other like. Alright, then I just Lava Golem it away, right? Yeah, like I don't even care that Cursed Eldland got bounced back. Honestly, like it literally made no difference. But now his Nightmare Unicorn is in the graveyard, which means if he wants to make access code, he's gonna have to make it some other way. Anyway, all right, let's continue. So he's gonna use Fairy Tale Snow to banish a bunch of cards and summon itself, which doesn't really matter. Okay, play Spreader Zombie. Alright, his draw phase is skipped. Stand by. He burns for 1,000. Look at his life points. He's at 750. So he's going to make Synchro into Excel Synchron. Okay. Jet Synchron is going to make Baron de Fleur. Oh no. Whatever shall I do? I'm going to Solemn Warning. Bye-bye. Okay. And then he's going to summon back the Chaos Ruler. And Jet Synchron is going to summon itself back. So at this point, he can make Red Dragon, Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss. So I'm just going to pop his Jet Synchron and his Chaos Ruler. And then this is where I'm going to summon Heavily Prison because, yeah, he can just burn himself to death with Lava Golem, right? And I'm going to grab Pot of Extrav, pop that. So yeah, all I have to do is end my turn and Lava Golem will just kill him, right? But I'm going to go ahead and Extrav. And then, hilariously, he's going to Ash. Oh no, I'm going to get Ashed. Whatever shall I do? I mean, I could just end, but this is just funny. And I'm going to go ahead and play Card of Demise and draw 3. And then he's going to scoop. Like... Dude, I don't understand people who run Ash as a one-of. Like, it's such a low impact card. It does nothing, right? And you're like never gonna see it. So, and if you do see it, that means you're not seeing another card that you really need, right? So I don't know. I don't know. It's just hilarious. Figure out what happens in this one. I'm gonna Extrav. He's gonna chain Ash. But I'm gonna chain Called by the Grave. So that's what I'm saying. Like the Called by the Grave is way more impactful in a Limit 1 festival. It's like that is your one and only Ash, buddy. And you chose to use it on a Pot of Extravagance. What an idiot! Dear Servant, grab Ecclesia. Ecclesia is gonna grab Punishments. Cursed Outland is gonna grab Backrow. I'm gonna set, and then Titanic Clyde is gonna grab me Fleur de Lis. So yeah, I just net like a bunch of cards, right? So on their standby phase, although I should have done a draw phase, anti-spell fragrance. He's gonna chain Twin Twisters and take out both my Backrow and my anti-spell. By the way, he has 3 more cards in hand, right? And I have a punishment. Punishment can pop 2 cards. So. Yeah. What is he gonna do? Oh, he's wait, what? So he just Raigeki'd. Okay, so he summons Prank Kids Roxy's, and then he Raigeki's my one Ecclesia. What an absolute moron! Why would you waste Raigeki like that? And then he's gonna go ahead and make the Meow Moo. By the way, I allowed him to. I could have punishmented him. At this point, by the way, I still have... Do I have my Insys? Oh, I do not have my Insys. Okay, it doesn't matter. But yeah, so... Roxy's is gonna... so I'm gonna summon Fleur de Lis here. The reason is because I want to use Punishment soon. So, yeah, I'm gonna use Fleur de Lis in attack position. Roxy's is gonna banish their last card in hand, which was an Elixir, okay? And now I'm gonna Punishment the Fansies. And then... The Backrow is going to grab my... I'm going to grab White Destiny because Eldlich is in my hand, right? So, Cursed Outland is going to grab the Guardian. I'm going to use the Eldlich to send Guardian to clear his Backrow. It was a Judgment. Eldlich is going to revive itself using the Elixir, and he's just going to scoop. Yeah, he's super fucked. Like... his Meow Moo is going to get destroyed. He has no way of doing a 1-card combo with any, like, let's say he draws a prank kid's name, like he can't make anything with it, right? So yeah, and I was gonna deal like a bunch of damage, and I was gonna have Ice Dragon's Prison for follow up, and the elixir that I just sent to the graveyard was gonna search me Conquistador. So there was nothing he could do, right? So even though in that game I did not have Twin Twisters protection, I mean I did have Anti-Spell, which forces Twin Twisters on the Anti-Spell. It didn't really get him anything. Like, okay, so no Anti-Spell, so I guess he was able to play his Raigeki on a one Ecclesia. But yeah, and then like Huaquero that he popped just got me an Eldlich. So anyway, that was my Limit 1 Festival Eldlich deck profile. I highly recommend you play this for free and easy wins. And if you just want to get as many gems as possible, don't forget that there is a dual pass currently available in the shop. If you haven't already purchased it, I farmed like half of my dual pass just from playing the Limit 1 Festival. So yeah, very fun. Part of me wishes that TCG would just limit everything to 1 for hilarity. Anyway, alright, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something. Feel free to comment down below. Stay tuned for my next video. I do have more videos coming. Peace.